Welcome to Get Celebritized. I am so happy you're with us here today, tonight, wherever you are in the world. Whether you're listening to me here on a podcast or watching me live on social media, this is going to be such a very special episode because I have a very successful business entrepreneur, real estate investor, and so much to tell you about Stephanie. Puryear Helling. I want to make sure I pronounce that correctly. She is going to pour into you wonderful excerpts of success and triumph and get into some nuts and bolts about how she's done all that she's done. She also has connections with John Maxwell and all sorts of good stuff. But I don't want to ruin the surprise. So she's coming up in just a little bit, so don't go away. But first and foremost, I have a nonprofit founder that you know how much I love to spotlight nonprofits. And this one is really, really special. I think you're going to really enjoy this because imagine finding a huge answer to homelessness for women and for children. This woman has the most amazing idea, and I'm going to bring her up to tell you all about tiny town homeless communities and bring her up right now. None other than Chanelle Scott. Chanelle, come on up to the show. Welcome to Get Celebritized, where we help people earn more so they can live more, and most importantly, Chanelle, so they can give back more. Enter your nonprofit. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here today.
Chanelle, you look amazing, and you are amazing. And we met over on Clubhouse, and you were sharing your story several times in several different of the audio rooms that we're on, and you really touched my heart and everybody else's heart. First of all, tell us what a tiny town is, and then we're going to backtrack and see how you got to this position, caring about this very needed answer to this prayer. I'm so excited about this.
Thank you so much again. So Tiny Town CA is very exciting. We are pioneering something very special. We are the very first resort that's being built for our unhoused women and children of Los Angeles County to start. And then we are looking to take it across the country and then globally, wherever there is a need to solve the homeless problem. Of course, no one has all the answers, but we're working on all of them. We're adding to this every day.
Chanelle, I just think it's such a great idea because, my daughters and I, we drive through our town and we're always trying to give $20 here, $30 there. Do we see homeless families on the corner? And every time, just a couple of days ago, we thought to ourselves, where do they go at night? How can we help them? We know they want to work. They want to be able to provide for themselves. And giving a hand out is great, but I'd rather give them a hand up. And that's what you're doing. So tell us what a tiny home is, which I know maybe people have seen them on Bravo TV. They're very trendy, all these little tiny houses. What is a tiny home in a tiny town exactly?
Well, a tiny home is just that. It's a small home that is as functional as a large home.
What is small? Tell me, like, square footage.
That would be about 300 square feet. Actually, we have tiny homes as small as 120 square feet, all the way up to about 650 square feet is considered to be, I would say 800 square feet is considered to be a tiny home. And so I believe that tiny homes are the wave of the future. And see, this is the thing. I'm in California and it's expensive to live here. Yeah. And the reason why is because it's overcrowded and it's not enough places for people to live. So there's a supply and demand. And so if we put tiny homes in our neighborhoods, it evens the playing field. People have sustainable housing that they can live in permanently and comfortably and raise their small families. I would say an individual person to a small family, 1 to 2 children, and grow from there. I think that is revolutionary and innovative.
I do too, because you see under the bridges, you see tents. So imagine a
Yes.
community, whether it's like a little trailer park community. Yeah, when you were telling me this, it's you've got these tiny homes and you're not just putting them like on street corners anywhere. You have them in communities. So they're actually their own little neighborhoods with security. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Such a great
We're working with SciArc, the Southern California Institute of Architecture, and they are designing Tiny Town,
I love
and
it.
they have a whole ecosystem for us set up. The renderings have been absolutely fabulous, with farming involved. Um, we've got all kind of wonderful things happening, with bringing an economy to Llano, California, which is
And then
insane.
you're not staying in California. I just want you to know we're not letting you stay in California. There's a
Oh, I
whole
want to
country
say
that's going to need tiny towns. And so I want you to talk to us too a little bit more about, who lives there. Because I think you said it was women and children, especially, or maybe it wasn't, but you had security to keep the women and the mothers safe. And I thought that was such a unique idea because I've never heard of that before, where you really are taking care of your own, like a community, which it is. So it's a tiny community. So talk to us about that as well.
Okay, so we're set to break ground this year.
Where?
And in Llano, California is LLANO. Llano, California is formerly known as Llano del Rio, California, which is in Los Angeles County.
Love it.
And yes, we do have a built-in system, even for internal arguments, to de-escalate arguments. We have two fabulous ladies who we are calling our house mothers. The house mothers are the solvers of all things. If there is a grievance between residents, if there is something that one of the residents needs, that they don't feel comfortable talking to administrative people about, they do have the house mother there to go as an advocate for them. Also, to keep the order. Sabrina Bullock, she is our house mom, and she is formerly in law enforcement. Our people are handpicked,
I
and
love
she's
that. First of all, you're smart by putting women in charge. So good for you.
yes.
'Cause they can do that. I mean, yes. So maybe this will be a trend. But is it, or do you cater just to women and children? Is it just for single moms? Do you have
Oh,
tiny
no.
towns separate for men versus women? Talk to us about that dynamic as well.
Well, to start, on the land in Llano, because we've acquired 19.28 acres in Llano, California, and that's where Tiny Town will be built. But that is going to be for the women and children. We do have other initiatives for our brothers, um, to be in a safe space as well. We're actually working with the city of California. I'm sorry, the city of Los Angeles right now, to take some people out of the tent cities and give them a place to stay in between 30 to 60 days. We're working with the city right now. I just got off the phone with them. I had such a
Mhm.
one of those active days, and we're working on getting funding from the city, to be able to house at least 5 people out of tent cities. I started
Great.
to I started to work with someone called Troy Richardson. He's the founder of INOJ, which is a skincare product that I absolutely love and I use myself.
Awesome.
And yes, I'll tell you more about that.
I'd love to.
It's absolutely wonderful vegan product. Want to give him a plug.
Ah, there you go. There's
Yeah,
your plug.
there's a plug. There's your
We
plug.
love people that support good causes. That's really
Yes,
special
yes,
that a business is
absolutely.
supporting you. Because I can see these tiny towns and cities all across the country and
Yes,
all
yes.
across the globe. So, are you going to do something where, let's say, any of the listeners or viewers are interested? They love this idea as much as I do because it really, you are solving such a great problem to house people, finding, and it's tiny town, so it's doable. It's not overwhelming, and you've got the communities there, and you have ways to teach them how to grow their own gardens and just so
Yes.
much. goodness. So it's a step up from homeless and tents and being on the corner to this beautiful little tiny home. I just think it's such a wonderful idea that every city needs one. So what do we do for saying, oh my gosh, now this is a great idea. Can I help start one in my city? Is that the
Yes, you
initiative you
can
want to do
just
after you do your first one, of course, in Los Angeles?
yes, please connect with me. The tiny homes, yes, that's very important, but
Let's put up your website,
the program is so
tinytownca.org.
important. Yes, it is so the program is so important. The first month, we're gonna let them sleep. They're
Ah,
gonna get a time to relax because when I was an unhoused mom, I didn't get a chance to sleep. We're giving them a chance to sleep the first month. The second month, we're gonna take them into nature, into beautiful art museums, to put beautiful images in their memory banks
oh,
and
wow.
reset the brain. We're going to
Mhm.
find out what they like to do for a hobby and help them monetize it by starting a small business for them, helping them with the digital footprint, connecting them in services to get their credit corrected. I'm trying to cram it all in because I know I don't have a lot of time
No,
left.
you're
But
fine.
at
You've
the
got
end of it,
time.
but at the end of it, they'll have a small business. They'll have a career path. They'll have a network of people that's cheering them on. They're waking up every single morning at 6:30 a.m. to positive affirmations. The kids will have it saying to them at 7:30 a.m. We are really going in and finding out what we can do to help, not just giving a place to live, but
Teaching them a way of
transforming
life.
their whole lives.
You really
I
are. Now,
went
how
through
long
hell.
do they
I
stay
went
there?
through it.
You what?
In our pilot program, which is in Los Angeles, California, in a beautiful building. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm here actually, because I'm severely raising funds for this initiative. We have an opportunity to house about 10 families in a very beautiful neighborhood in a very beautiful apartment.
Oh, how
And
wonderful.
if we are able to just raise enough money, we're able to place these people in for the next 8 months
And now, is that tiny
until
town or you're talking apartments now?
this is an apartment in our pilot program because Tiny Town is going to take about a year to a year and a half to build. We're
Gotcha.
starting the work right now.
I love
we
that.
we need to we want to take people off the street right now, and so
Yeah, you
I
do.
pitched Tiny Town um to an apartment building in Los Angeles, and they have empty apartments, and they said if I can come up with enough money, I can house people in this place, and
What's
it's
enough money?
beautiful. It's
Be specific. How much do you need? We got
we need
listeners. We got viewers.
okay, we need about $120,000 to house about 10 families. That is
That's
going to
nice.
house
Okay.
them for the next 8 months. And then we're also connecting them into sources for permanent housing. That's another project that we're going into that I can't even really talk about right now.
Oh, I
I
love it.
just
Love it.
we are in Tiny Town, we're all about stopping the cycle of homelessness. We
Amen.
have to do this. I got sent a very touching video that I wanted to bring up that Kobe Bryant did in downtown LA at Skid
Wow.
Row. And he said that he wanted to take everyone off the street and stop homelessness. He said he wanted to do that.
Hmm.
I'm a Laker fan. I
Yeah.
am a native. I'm a native Los Angeles, Los Angelino. Okay,
Right.
I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm a Laker fan. Tiny Town's colors are our Laker colors is
Of course they
blue
are.
and gold.
You know, and that's
That's
smart
how much I
too.
love the Lakers.
I love it. Can you?
So and the fact that, the Black Mamba wanted to do something about homelessness touched my heart. And it gave me it felt like it gave me like a superpower, a super energy and encouragement to just keep going, keep
Yeah.
going. We're
Now, can
so
you partner
close.
with the Kobe Bryant Foundation? Did he leave behind a foundation or anything that you could partner
I know that
together?
he has the Mamba Foundation, and then we have the Mamacita Foundation from his wife. Um, I believe that they know about Tiny Town
Okay,
already, according to what I've heard today.
because
But if
collaboration, we can
if
go bigger
anyone
and
else
faster.
knows, just let them know that this is so important. It's not
Mhm.
just let's put people in housing. I went through that. I was in a shelter with my kids. I felt like I was being punished for being poor. They didn't give me any solution. It was just a place to sleep. And I didn't sleep there because we're not doing that at Tiny Town. We're building
Right.
a resort for them. They're getting rejuvenated.
So
They're
let's
going
go
to feel
back,
so good
Chanelle, because
about life.
there's a reason why you're doing this. I have one more question, then I'm going to go back to why you, Chanelle. Why are you so passionate about this? Because we want to hear your story. But when the families, whether it's the single moms or whether it's two-parent homes, go into a tiny town that or we know that within a year to year and a half, this will become a realization. You only need $120,000 right now to get them in the apartment. There is money out there to get sponsorship, to get people to do this and to help you. And we're going to give that. I know it's tinytownca.org is your website, but you're taking people off the street. How long do they get to stay in a tiny town house? Is that like forever, or is that a transition? So how long do they stay in it and where they go after that? Just tell me that real quick before we get to your story, because we want to know why are you so passionate about this?
Okay, so the first part is, why am I so passionate about this? I am passionate about this because I am formerly unhoused woman with 3 little kids, and I was just lost out there. No one I was too embarrassed to tell my family. I was too
Oh,
embarrassed to reach out, um, because I come from a very good family. I didn't want to embarrass them. I wanted them to be proud of me. I didn't want them to be
well, they're
like, "Oh my
proud of
God,
you.
my," you know. So I went through a horrible situation with domestic violence,
Oh,
and
sorry.
I got left. He took off with my car.
Oh my
you know,
gosh. You're
and
not alone
girl,
with
the
that.
story is long. We don't have time enough to go into that. But I survived it. And so I decided, hey, I am blessed. I want to do something to keep a promise to my children and to
Mhm.
myself that I would do something about the homeless problem, because it
Well,
is
when
a
you were
problem.
homeless, you were saying you didn't sleep. Tell us a little bit of detail what it's
Yes.
like to be homeless so we can really let the viewers and the listeners know that being homeless is scary, not just cold, and there's so much
Mhm.
more to that. So you as a mom, single mom now, your ex now leaves you without the car, takes everything, and now you're with your children, and now you go where? To a homeless shelter? Tell us about that.
Okay, immediately I didn't know where to go.
Okay.
So I was just wandering.
Okay.
And then someone was like, someone can get you if you go to the welfare office, someone will give you a Greyhound ticket. I was like, okay. I went, they helped me with the Greyhound ticket. I went to Las Vegas. I found out where the nearest shelter was. On
Wait a
the
minute,
way
where were
there,
you before when you got the Greyhound
I was
ticket?
I was in Los Angeles
So why did you have to go to Las Vegas?
because
Was
I
there
was
no help?
running. I
You
was
were running
running.
away. Okay, I got you.
Yes,
Just wanna make
from
sure that
danger.
okay, so running away from that makes a difference because I'm sure there was a
Yes.
shelter nearer to you than Vegas, so I didn't put
Yes,
2 and
but
2
I was
together.
trying to get out of there.
Okay, good for
Was
you.
I
Okay,
was getting out of there,
okay.
and so I went to the place, where that was near but still far, which was
Mhm,
Las Vegas,
good.
and, we stayed in the shelter, and it was like being in what I would imagine jail being like, someone yelling
Really?
at you to wake up, somebody yelling at you because you're putting up a sheet so your little girls can change in privacy. You want to
Wow.
change in privacy. Um, Someone kicking you out at 10 o'clock and you don't know where to go. You don't have any money.
Oh
You're
my
just kind of
gosh.
wandering out there. You have a couple bus tickets. You try to find out, it's just you have people following you. Some of us get attacked,
Wow.
raped.
No.
Some of our children come up missing. Some of us come up
Yeah.
missing. Um, you know, Assaults, because we get thrown out of shelters. That's not
Oh my
happening at Tiny Town. They are
no,
able
it's
to
not gonna
stay
happen in a
there.
tiny town.
They are staying there for at least a year.
Okay,
And
get them on
the
their feet.
first month, they're gonna start paying a little rent, 5% of the rent. It'll escalate to 50% of the rent in that 12th month. They'll be putting a portion of their new income from their new business and their new career into a fiduciary account. So by the time they leave, they will have a good amount of money so they can afford to buy some land themselves
Mhm.
and start a tiny town.
Right.
I'm giving the tiny town lesson. This is how you start a business. This is how you
Yeah.
start a nonprofit. Yeah, we're going to do that
When
too.
people
And we
donate,
have other professionals
yeah.
that'll do a way better job than I could that
That's
are
what we
going
ask.
to do
People
it.
donate to teach and donate their service to teach them money management, entrepreneurship,
Yes.
success. Because I know my whole community would probably love to donate their services and their expertise to get people off the ground. Because you saw a need, you experienced a need. By I hate that you said that it's like being in jail. The homeless should not be suffering like somebody that's been put in jail. These are families. These are moms, single dads, single moms. They're human beings that need to be safe. They need to not just be kicked out at 10 o'clock in the morning. Goodbye, good luck, come back tonight. If there's room, first come, first serve. It needs to be what you're doing. You saw the need from top to bottom, said, this is what's wrong with this system. Let's help fix it. And I just have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that are going to jump in on this. We start getting the word out. It's going to be more than you could ever think or ask because you're really changing
I
lives.
really appreciate it. I have a lump in my throat
I just
right now
love what you're
talking,
doing.
just going back.
Ah,
That's the hard part. That's the hard part about this.
because you're not
Is
alone. So many people want to
reliving it.
help. Yeah, we don't want to give that. We want to give
Mhm.
the handout, but we're thinking, God, there's more that we can do. Because when we're giving a handout to the homeless, whatever city you're in, and you're giving a little bit, it's never enough. Where are they going tonight? I see babies on the side of the street and their dogs and their family. It's like, I want to just scoop them all up and take them home. So now we can scoop them all up and take them to a tiny town in almost every city. I just believe that. I'm going to just
Yes.
believe God for a
Oh,
tiny
girl,
town
at Tiny
everywhere,
Town.
every city.
Tiny Town is
Tiny
Taco
town.
Tuesdays. We're doing Fish Fry Fridays. We're doing Sundays.
Well, you're giving
This
them
is
some
gonna be
fun
fun.
too. Good for you. Good for you.
They're gonna go from being in such a bad situation into this is so wonderful and
This is gonna
innovative.
explode.
I
This is
don't think
very
that
innovative. Very
it has
innovative.
ever happened before. Not that, and I've been studying tiny towns that are being built across the nation, which are absolutely wonderful. I'm inspired by you all. There's one in Austin, Texas that I'm like, wow, they're absolutely wonderful too. Check them
Okay.
out. They're
So is
doing
Tiny
wonderful
Town a
things.
franchise or there's more tiny towns or is this your tell me a little bit about how this works. So there's
Well,
others. That's great.
this is just one tiny town right now that will
Okay.
be expanding out.
Gotcha.
Of course, we want anywhere that there is a homelessness problem, we want to connect. Even
Okay.
with the shelters, we want to connect with them because the tiny
Good.
homes are important, but the tiny town CA program, that's the important part. That's the
Okay.
part that everybody needs to tune into. I'm not trying to put shelters down. They're doing a great job by taking
Exactly.
people off the street.
Keep them warm at
They're
night.
doing
There's
their due
more.
diligence. They're doing their best with what they have.
Right.
You
And
know,
it's important you collaborate with them. I love that.
we're just trying to add to it. That's
Add to
all.
it.
We don't want to make anyone feel bad, and we
No,
want
we
to
need
break the
them.
cycle of homelessness. We want to change lives. We don't, we want it to be a permanent solution for them to build generational wealth for themselves. We're pumping out
Absolutely.
queens.
Yeah,
That's
we
what we
are.
want to do. Pump out queens.
Yeah. Pump them out. Absolutely. And I always think of the script, there, but for the grace of God, go I. Because some people are
Yes.
just a paycheck away from being homeless. This really became reality to so many people in 2008, 2009, when the housing market crashed. People that never thought they would be homeless were actually homeless. It's not that anybody's done anything wrong. It's anybody could be homeless. You never know. Your grandmother, your mother, father, and yourself, anybody could be there because you never know what's going to happen with the world. So if we help
Mhm.
now, you get help, which
Yeah.
is so wonderful. I believe what you give out in this world, you get back when you need it. It may look the same, may look different, but being a giving person is so important. And this is like a staple of life. Everyone should have help having food on the table and a roof over their head. But I do have a question for you. Talk about giving people their own business. Now, knowing what I do, I'm an entrepreneur coach and I help people be successful being an entrepreneur. It's not always for everyone to run their own business. Not everybody wants to run their own business. If
Right.
somebody really doesn't want to, do you help them get a job? Do you help them, have tools so they go, I just work because they may not want to run their own business? Is there like that option as well?
Absolutely.
Good.
We know that like everyone's not supposed to go to college or to start a
Mhm.
business. Everyone is not made to work for someone else either. You
Mhm.
know, these are all
Right.
tools. Pick up an axe if something needs to be chopped down. Pick up
Yeah.
a nail and a hammer if something needs to be secured in. You know,
Mhm.
these are all tools. And we met on Clubhouse, and there are some fantastic women
Oh,
and
yeah.
people who have, you know, put out the hand and said, "Hey, shake my hand. I'm gonna do the workshop to teach the women of Tiny Town about the business that I'm in." You know,
Absolutely. You know, I'm
you
gonna
know,
be
and then
volunteering, whatever you need, well, I'm gonna be pouring into them. It's like we need to give back. I can't wait to pour in them absolutely for
absolutely.
free, whatever they need to know, whatever my expertise is that they may need for that, whether it's time management, money management, entrepreneurship. We're gonna do this. And I have lots of friends in this industry that will help so many coaches that would come
Thank
mindset coaching,
you.
mental wellness coaches that'll come in and donate. And the beauty is that we can zoom
Thank
right in.
you.
You know, I'm sure there's going to be a way where you can give them that, have a laptop up and do some group helping. We are going to figure this out because it is so needed.
Yes,
You're
see,
saving
that's
lives. I'm just all over this. tinytownca.org. Chanelle, tell us exactly. We've got about 5 minutes left. What you need
okay.
right now and how we can give it to you right now. I'm going to put your website up one more time because this is the one-stop shop, tinytownca.org, in case you're listening. Tinytownca for California.org. Chanelle, we do go right there to do anything, donate time, services, cash, money, because we know you need cash.
Yes, please listen. We have expenses, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I am so I want to say thank you to some people first. I want to say thank you to my father, Harmon Roberts, to Teresa Roberts, his wife, to the Mendozas, Edwin and April Mendoza, to my daughter, Jennifer Roberts, Rowan Mitchell Sr.
Uh-huh.
I want to say thank you to everyone on Clubhouse who has donated money, jewelry, Coffee Brown. She donated this from
Oh,
Paparazzi. I'm wearing it from
love it.
Paparazzi from Coffee Brown. I got to give you her shout out.
There you go.
To Jen from Her Stories, who did my story. She's absolutely fabulous. You got to
Oh my
tap in.
gosh. Jen acts, she
She
does
is
beautiful stories.
amazing. She's amazing.
And she
I
was on my
wanted her.
podcast. So a lot of people watch that. And for sure, because she tells her story in such a beautiful way with music and with movement. And like
Yes.
I said, Jen asked her stories. Is it .org or .com?
.com.
Herstories.org. Oh, I still have it here.
.org.
She was on last week. Herstories.org to help tell women's stories in a beautiful way. It's really done so well. I can't wait to see yours. Sorry we didn't get in time to show tonight, but we will have you on
It's
again
okay,
to
but
show.
if anyone out there, if you have connections to television, to exposure in any way, please contact us. Please donate money. Please donate furniture. You can call us 323-901-0563. We will answer 323-901-0563. Subscribe to tinytownca.org.
Chanel, is all
Please,
that on your website?
all of that is on the
Okay.
website.
We'll send
So
them
is the
over to the website.
program.
Wonderful. tinytownca.org. We're so glad you're here to tell your story from homeless to helping the homeless. In one sentence, Chanelle, going from homeless to helping the homeless, what was one thing that made the difference in your life to get you from homeless to now having a home and having a life? If you can just sum that up in a sentence or two in our last 30 seconds.
I would say love.
From, from who?
Love from the Most High that was newly realized in my life. Love from my children, from Rowan, from my parents, from my family. Love was the encouraging factor for me. And it helped me to go on. When I gave up on myself, that love, it kept me going. And so I
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
so
spread the
glad.
love. I want to spread the love now,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
do. You're so full of love. I love it. Was there one
Yeah.
particular person that was able to reach out to you and pull you out of the homelessness? Did you? Because it's hard, I know, as women or even as men, of course, the pride, like you said, you didn't want to bother your family. You wanted them to
Yeah.
be proud of you. Did you have to
Oh,
swallow the pride to allow somebody to help you?
There were people that helped me. Again, the Mendozas helped me. My father and Teresa helped me.
So you had to allow
Rowan
them
helped
to
me.
help you.
My mother helped me.
Good.
My daughter Jennifer Roberts helped me. Like I said, it was the love
It's a
and
community.
them telling me, hey, this is not you. This is just an experience that you're having. This is not you.
Exactly. You are not,
You know,
you
and
know,
so that
signified by
was
homeless. You're a
no, of
person.
course not.
You were all there, for the
No,
grace of God, go I. Anyone could be on. It's just a state of where you are right now. Just like success. You aren't your success. You are still who
absolutely.
you are. Your spirit, your soul, everything about you. So much more, whether you're broke or rich or anywhere in between, it doesn't matter. Still a human being. And when somebody reached out to love you and help you, and you allowed them to help you, that's really important because some people are still out there, especially women, that don't want to let somebody help them. They don't know how to ask for help. So you're going to be there to help them, and we're going to help you help them. And then if somebody's able to get out of the bad moment, because I tell you what, some of these times, just in the last 20 years, people that have never seen hard times like never before. And I think so many
Oh,
of them are
yes.
turning around to help, saying, wow, that was eye-opening. I never thought that
Yes.
would happen.
And if they didn't go through it, they know someone who did. That's
Exactly.
how hard this has hit us. It has been the great equalizer, hasn't it?
It really has. And you are amazing for taking this experience, Chanelle, and turning around and helping others. And that's what I'm always
Thank you so
preaching from my
much.
soapbox. Take what you've been through, turn around and help others, because nobody knows the trials and the triumphs like you in this particular arena. So anything we can do to help you, we are there for you. Chanelle Scott is the real deal. She is amazing. Look her
Thank
up,
you.
tinytownca.org. We're going to have you back. We're going to have follow-ups with you. I'm not just going to have you this one time and then never have you on again. We want to follow up with you, see how you're doing,
Thank
see how
you.
it's coming, see if we need to raise more, whatever we have to do. And I just predict a tiny town from your organization in every single city. Let's do this together, because we can't wait for somebody else to do it. We all have to be part of the solutions and
Thank
not just
you.
gripe about the problems. Chanelle,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I
Thank you
absolutely
for
adore you.
having
You
me.
will be back, and your prayers are
Thank
going to be
you.
answered. Absolutely love you. You're a
Thank
hard
you.
worker. Love you so much. All right, I know we've got to go
Me
into
too.
to go on now, but I'm just so glad you're here. Thank you for being on Get Celebritized. We're going to celebritize you, Tiny Town, and all the
Thank
good work
you.
you do. So until next time, we're going to say good night or good morning for everybody watching from around the world from Get Celebritized. Thank you, Chanelle.
Thank you so much.
Welcome once again. My guest right now is going to be a fabulous, another friend of mine that I've met on Clubhouse. I meet a lot of amazing people on Clubhouse. If you're not on the audio apps, get on these audio apps, get to talking to people, because that's where these relationships are built. And I'm going to bring on Stephanie Puryear Helling, and I hope I'm pronouncing their middle and last name correctly. Stephanie, come on up here. Stephanie, welcome to the show. So glad to have you. Since I don't have my intro right here in front of me, tell us a little about yourself, because we want to dig into nuts and bolts about success. And you've
Sure.
got it made.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Aurea. And yes, we met on Clubhouse and at Mega Success, which was just fabulous. So a little bit about me. So it's Stephanie Puryear Helling, and you got it super close. But for short, it's SPH, which is how a lot of people know me, and it's a lot easier to pronounce. So
I can't introduce you as just SPH.
I know. So I am an entrepreneur. I have my own business, which is SPH Services. You deserve more. And prior to that, I was in the corporate world. So I was in the corporate world for really my entire career, working for a global multifamily real estate organization. I worked for 2 smaller organizations before that. And I've worn a lot of hats in leadership development, team building, strategic services, et cetera. And unfortunately was laid off during COVID. And,
were you a realtor as well, or just worked for this?
Just multifamily, working in the corporate space, helping with team development, learning and development, strategic initiatives, et cetera. And it was a fabulous organization, but obviously COVID impacted everyone, right?
Really did.
And so we were doing some restructuring, And I knew that my department was changing. And, I got the call that unfortunately there wasn't a spot. We were acquiring another company, et cetera. But it was actually a blessing in disguise. And, I had been thinking about, what do I want to do in this next phase of my life? And I could have absolutely been happy with that organization and retired there.
Wow.
But it really gave me the opportunity, and it was a gift from them, honestly, and the universe, for me to really think about my why and my purpose.
Okay.
And continue helping others, but now in a broader way. Right. And so my focus is helping people, whether it's an individual or teams, from a leadership perspective, with change management, and really ultimately resiliency. So that's what I'm focused on. And it's been a blessing, and I really enjoyed, helping clients in a different way.
I love your story. And also I wanted to go back when I was reading your bio a little bit, and I saw the military part of it. I'm so in awe of anybody that serves in the military. I mean, our lives just, are here because of anyone that serves in any capacity. And it's they're all heroes. I don't care if you're in there just for a minute or a lifetime. It takes such a brave person to join any of the armed forces to serve our country. So tell us a little bit about that and why you did that, and if that impacted your success in any way, because I know it is not for the faint of heart, and there's so much about maybe the leadership that you learned there. So talk to us a little bit about that, what made you do it, and how it impacted your life and career.
Sure. Thanks for asking. So I come from a family with a history of serving in the military. My grandfather was a colonel in the Air Force during World War II. So my mother and her sisters grew up in Hawaii and Japan and all of that. My father served in the Army Reserves, for a period of time, a few years. And then when my mother and father got divorced, my mother married a Marine who was in the 8th and I Barracks in DC. We moved to Texas, which is how I got to Texas from Northern Virginia. And then my stepfather ended up joining the Army and was a battalion commander and a colonel during Karina. And he also served in Afghanistan twice. So when I was in high school, military was what everyone had done. Mm-hmm. And I just sort of, followed suit. It was a great opportunity for me to help pay for part of college.
Yeah.
And what I learned through the military, so I actually joined when I was 16 because I was a young senior in high school. So I joined when I was 16 and was going to weekend drills and summer camp. And then right when I turned 17, I went to, a couple of months later, I went to basic training.
So you ended up being a sharpshooter. I mean,
I was a sharpshooter, which is not the best, by the way. The best is expert. It just sounds really good.
It does.
But yeah, I was a sharpshooter with an M16 and a hand grenade, which was super empowering. Funny story, when they sent me off to basic training, I was the only girl getting off the plane and on this bus full of young men. And I have naturally curly hair. It's straight today.
Right.
I have long, naturally curly hair, all men on the bus. And I'm like, this Army thing is kind of cool.
Yeah, you're thinking I can get used to this. I'm sure they were thinking the same thing, having you on the bus.
And so they put me in a barracks all by myself. I didn't have to wake up the next morning until like 7. I went to the mess hall. I had a made to order omelet. I'm like, this Army thing is great. So then I got called to the CO's office and he's like, Private, we have a problem. This says that you're male, but you are clearly not male. So anyway, that's how the whole.
I was going to say there had to be a story at this. It's the reason why you're the only girl on the bus.
Yeah. And so it was an all male, camp, Fort Leonard Wood, which I think is now co-ed, but so then they sent me to South Carolina, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, in the heat during the summer, in the sand and pine needles, low crawling under the, low crawling with an M16 and barbed wire and all that good stuff. But it was a great experience. And to answer your question, it taught me a lot of structure, accountability, responsibility. You're only as strong as your weakest link on your team. And perseverance and resiliency, really, how to weather through some really tough stuff
Mhm.
and come out on the other side. And I think I got that from my parents prior to that, but
Mhm.
the military really reinforced that. And I've kind of carried that with me throughout life in terms of resiliency and really getting through tough situations.
You know, the fact that you said that you're only, and I say this all the time, you're only as good as your best, your worst show, or your weakest link, or the weakest person on the team, and it's so true. And I forgot that because I don't call. Well, my dad was in the army, but he died when I was young. He was murdered by the mafia when I was
Oh my
15.
gosh.
Yeah, but I remember him being in the army, but he was much older than my mom, so he was in World War II, and so I didn't know a lot about it. I just saw pictures of him in the army. I knew him and his brother were, but I never got like, I think I got one story out of it, or something. But I remember, hearing these stories of from other people from in business that you're only as strong as your weakest link. And they say that in the military. And it's so important to know that, when the tide rises, all the boats rise. I know you don't leave any man or woman behind.
Right.
That team effort, that discipline. I just always knew that there had to be so much good business skills, life skills, by being for those who are brave enough to go serve and do that. It's just phenomenal to me, because I just think that is such a great way to lay a foundation for life. Now, I know there's a lot of people have bad experiences, and PTSD is a thing. There's so many things that go wrong, war and all of that. But the basic foundation, I'm always really curious. And, did you learn anything good from it? What did you take away? Because it's so different. So first of all, thank you to your family and to you for all of your services. We would, not be here if it wasn't for all of you and people like you that get up and say, I'm joining. This is what I'm doing. And besides your family being in it, what was one thing that really made you do it? Because I know a lot of people have families that join the services, but not them. What was that inner part of you that said at 16, 7, you were 16 to say, I'm in?
I've always admired grit in people and people who are tough. And so for me, it was just a personal challenge that I wanted to accomplish. And it was going to help me with college. I thought I was going to be a doctor. So I was a 91 Alpha Combat Medic. And I was pre-med in college. And then I actually got into multifamily, and the rest is history. But so there were a couple factors there, but it was the grit factor, helping with college. And, I got a lot of medical hands-on training through the Army to help me in what I thought was going to be my career.
Wow. Well, it serves you well. And I know we look back on things in our life and say, I learned that from this, or I got this skill from that. So nothing is, a waste of time at all. It's all part of the journey. And I think it served you so well. And wow, it's so impressive. I mean, just all that you've done. Yeah. And I graduated high school when I was 16. And I knew we had that synergy when we met. We just clicked, talking. It's like, I know you're going to start a podcast, and we're some of the same, real estate investing things that we do. And I just liked you from the minute I met you. You were sharp. You were interesting. Yeah, that was so fun. We just clicked.
And funny and fun.
Funny. But I love this. So now you go from that. I want to talk to you because you're very resilient. So let's run with that word, resilient. People these past 2 years, we're doing this interview 2021. We have just come out of 2020, 2021, and we haven't come out of anything yet. The world is still just so upside down. And you're successful in business. Now you're investing in real estate again, I believe. Yes. What can you tell the viewers and the listeners how to be resilient right now? Everybody wants to be resilient with all this pandemic going on. Is that we need to know some tips. Yeah. What, in your experience, has helped you be successful? What words of wisdom can you give everyone to say, hey, here's what could work. Here's a new way to think. Here's a mindset. Talk to us a little bit about resilience in this new world of 2021.
Sure. So in short, I'm going to share one thing.
Okay.
Everything that happens to us in life, we have two choices, right? Two. We can be bitter, or we can be better. That's it. So I can take things that happen to me and curl up in a ball and want to escape, which, yes, I've done that on occasion, right? But how long do I want to stay there? Not very long, because it doesn't feel good, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're just repeating that experience over and over. And it is a mindset thing, because it happens to you once, but how many times do you want to relive that in your brain before you move on? I think it's part of just my personality in terms of, how my parents were divorced when I was young. That was tough, but they did a good job kind of figuring that out. It was still tough.
Right.
The military taught me resiliency. And then in the last 6 years, I've been through, a few major life changes. I got a divorce after 21 years. That was tough. It was my decision, but it still is not positive.
Yeah, it's not fun to go through. And I know life happens too, Stephanie, and everybody can say the extent, especially women. I really love to preach to the women because we go through this. So we need this. One thing I love about my show here at Get Celebritized is I love to pull out some nuts and bolts because we hear the stories and now you're here and now you're successful and you were over here, you're in the military, parents got divorced, you're divorced, but we want to know some nuts and bolts. What did you do? How did you turn it around? And I know joining Clubhouse was something that you and I both did to meet people, but let's talk some turkey here. Okay, yeah. I met this person, or I decided to go back to school, or I decided to do this. What is some of this that you could share with everybody?
Sure. Just to share a few more quick things. So I went through a divorce. My oldest son got cancer. My middle son went through some major issues. My sister passed away at 35 and left behind a 1-year-old baby that I'm helping my parents raise because there's no father in the picture. And I was laid off, all within the last 6 years. But now I have not one, not two, but 3 businesses. So how did I navigate all of that? It's complete mindset. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm not sitting saying, manifest and it's going to happen. But it is absolutely mindset, and it's a choice. Mm-hmm. So here you're faced with this situation, in some cases horrible, right? Death is not fun. Cancer's not fun. Divorce is not fun. Layoff is not fun. Mm-hmm. But you have a choice to either say, okay, oh my God, woe is me, poor me, this sucks. Look at what's happening to my life. Or you can say, okay, this sucks. Now what am I going to do? So
at that moment, now what did you do?
Well, in my divorce, I did it in 93 days. I refinanced the house on my own, paid him off his portion of the equity. I didn't ask for child support because I just told myself I'm going to figure this out. And I did. Mm-hmm. And then all of the other scenarios, like when my son had cancer, I'm like, okay, what are we doing next? We're going to go see this expert. We're going to do this. Now we're going to do this. So it's really the mindset of action. Forward movement. How can I handle this? And how do I want to compartmentalize this? Right. Rather than saying, oh my God, I'm frozen because this is so horrible. For me, it's like, this is horrible, but I want to get on the other side of it. So what am I going to do to get on the other side? And for me, it's figuring out a plan, taking action, helping as much as I can. And in some cases, honestly, it's surrendering to what is happening, not giving up. No, saying this is my reality.
Right.
It is what it is. Now, what are we going to do to move forward? And it's all about pivoting, really.
Pivoting, that's a big word we've been using a lot, pivoting. Yeah. So how do you know where to start? Because now you say you have 3 businesses. So let's go back just for a second. All right, you're going through all this. What was that first business? And if people were listening and watching, they might have something they've always loved to do, or they want to pull out an old business that they may want to recharge it. Where did that first business come from?
Sure. So for me, when I went through that layoff, and really 2 years prior, I was thinking, okay, if I could retire here and be super happy, but if I were to do something else, what would it be? And I had been speaking on the national circuit within my industry for 15 years. I did that within my organization. That was a passion of mine, to help people, from a learning and development and training perspective.
Right.
And so that's what I chose to do, is to create my own business, focusing on helping others, leading people and teams to success, whether it's an individual and helping them with their leadership, which we can all continue to learn. Right. And as John Maxwell,
for the pro.
Yeah. As John Maxwell says, you must lead yourself first before you can lead others. So as leaders, it's really the onus is upon us to continue to develop and hone our skills, know ourselves and our weaknesses so that we can get better to help our team and bring them up. So that was really the first one. And that's my primary business. The other two are kind of side gigs, to be honest, but there's a lot of potential for them to
Oh, I love that.
grow.
Multiple streams of income. But I'm
Yeah.
glad you said John Maxwell, because that brings you back to when I introduced you. Is I love John Maxwell. I met him several times when I did Mary Kay back in the day. He was a big part of the training that, he was always coming in and training the Mary Kay sales directors. And we learned so much from him. His stories, his books, so good. And I noticed on your bio, you're talking about John Maxwell certified. I don't know if you're a certified coach or whatever, but I want to find out in a second. When you did this and you said, okay, I'm going to pivot, I'm going to start this business. You and I both know that coaches are so important. Did you have to hire a coach? Did you immediately tap into a John Maxwell? Tell me how the John Maxwell fits in and how coaching fits in for you first before you became one.
Sure. So I started my business. I actually took a short hiatus and worked for a startup for about 6 months with someone I know very well. And he's like, yeah, you can still grow your business. That wasn't reality, and that's okay. So once I left there just a few short months ago, John Maxwell came across my screen, and I have a good industry friend who actually works closely with him. And it had been in the back of my mind, and it was honestly like kismet. It just came across my screen. I called, I talked to them. It was a perfect alignment for me in terms of what they're about and what they do.
Right.
And so I signed up immediately, and I'm going in March to our big international Maxwell certification conference. And then shortly thereafter, I met JT Fox again. Came across my screen, seriously, came across my screen, got on a call, had a conversation with him and Reggie. And 30 minutes later, I signed up for Mega. And
that's where we met. That's where we met in person.
Yes. And in between that call with JT and Reggie and Mega, I joined Founders, which is, investing in real estate.
Yeah.
And I was able to meet JT in Austin to go look at the Waco deal. And then I have a few other coaches that I've worked with or I'm still working with. But for me, okay, a couple of things. That just reinforced that what I was focused on was correct. And the exact right, perfect people for me in terms of coaching came along at the exact perfect time. And that has been, that was just a few short months ago.
Yeah.
And that has been so powerful in my life to not only have the coaches and the one-on-one, I do some one-on-one coaching and the programs, the materials, but the connections that I've made, just like the one that I made with you, have been phenomenal and deep. Like they're not surface level connections. They are meaningful. And it's been fantastic. So I'm a huge believer in coaches, not just because I am one,
right?
Because I have them. And I think it really helps you gain clarity. And it helps you to grow. And coaches, it's not all rah-rah.
Not at all. Not if you get the right one. Absolutely not.
Hard. But they push me hard exactly when I need.
And they should.
Right? Yeah.
They should. They help you be the best you could be. And, like the Oprahs, they have 5 coaches. Tony Robbins always had 5 or more coaches. You need coaches in different sectors of your being. You have coaches to help you, with, the mindset. You might have another one that helps you with, the nuts and bolts of planning and plotting out the structure, the business plan. It doesn't matter how many you have, but you got to have at least one. We know that. Yes. Even JT and the biggest ones of the best have several coaches, and you never want to be the smartest person in the room. You never want to not tap into somebody smarter than you, because there's always somebody smarter in an arena than you are. None of us are smart at everything. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Someone makes more than you. It helps us go, avoid pitfalls. It's like trying to get to New York to California in a car and you don't get the roadmap.
Exactly.
Get somebody in the car that has the roadmap so you can get there faster without all the dips and turns. And, you need somebody that knows a straight line, because it's not easy being in any kind of business. It's kind of like also having a business and not having a CEO, a president, a vice president, your team. You've got to have structure. You can't be the end all be all everything to the entire world or to yourself. There's not enough time in the day to do it all. So I love it. I believe in coaches too. I always have several coaches. I absolutely adore our Mega Success, JT, and everybody in that. I'm loving now. I'm venturing into the real estate investing. I know this much about it. which is
Right.
big fat zero, but I'm going to learn because we're teachable and
Exactly.
coachable. And I know that we're now surrounding ourselves with people that are doing it, not just talking about it, but that take us under their wing. So back to that, I only have another maybe 4 minutes here. Stephanie, you're so wise. You've come out of so much. And gosh, when you're just telling me your story, it's like, wow, one of those things could bury somebody. So if you could give me last minute tips, there's a lot of people out there that still are trying to pivot. There are a lot of people that have not found their tribe like you and I have, Stephanie, that don't have hope. They're like trying to find that tribe to give them hope. What would you say to them? What should they be looking for? I mean, we'll pray that their people come across the screen, but what can they do to be proactive to get to that first step now to really make that pivot happen?
Sure. I would say number one, realizing that you don't have to do it all alone. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I think a lot of us, think, oh, I have to be this strong person, or I'm afraid to be vulnerable and be really honest about the fact that I'm struggling. I was struggling yesterday. I was overwhelmed. I worked a 12 or 14-hour day. I had a call with one of my coaches that I wanted to cancel because I didn't feel poised and perfect. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, by the way.
I love it.
And so I kept that call. And I was vulnerable and open with the fact that I was overwhelmed on that call. And what's funny is I wanted to cancel with my coach when I needed my coach the most.
Right.
So
it's
I
not when you
did.
cancel.
Exactly. That's when you need to be there. But I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't want my coach to see me like this, but that's what your coach is for. And
Exactly.
so all of us go through those moments. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are people who can help you. And the more people that you can get in your network to have your back, the better you're going to be, the more successful you're going to be. We can all help other people, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if we just remember that we're more alike than we are different.
Oh, I like that.
And there are more connections than there is adversity.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the advice that I would give, because, we can't do it all alone. I mean, I'm single mom, 3 kids, entrepreneur. I can't do it all alone. I have to find resources and help to help me so that I can be the best to do the things that are the most important for me to focus on, right? To get back and help others.
And 2 things. That's why at some point as coaches, we're very specific with the pain we solve so people can find us. What exact pain do you solve? So they can see that, they can hear that wherever our social media is, say, oh, I need to know more. And I can probably pretty much honestly say that every coach has some form of free. They can't give their one-on-one time for free, but most of the coaches that solve the pain that whoever's listening or watching has, you can tap in, whether it's a pre-recorded, whether it's something they have that they give away as a promo, or whether they just have rooms on Clubhouse or Facebook audio or Twitter. There's a way to tap into almost anybody these days, absolutely free, to just feed your soul, feed your spirit, feed your business, get the juices flowing before you make that decision to buy into somebody that really can take you to the next step. Because I know all of us have some way, say a free call, a free this, a free that. So you just have to ask for it. You got to look for it. And coaches out there that are listening to this, you got to be very specific in the pain you solve, so it's an easier find that they know, ooh, I need to tap into them. I need to follow them on social media, or I'm going to find a room that audio app that they're on, and they will find us if our pain that we solve is very, very clear. Okay, last 30 seconds. What do you want to tell everybody? I'm going to put your website up here, Stephanie, and it's sphservices.net to tap into you. Give us a promotion for you. This is your chance to say, this is what I do, this is who I help, and they will tap in.
Sure. So the road to resiliency is what I'm focused on right now, helping people to go from tragedy to triumph. And so thank you for putting up that website. You can also go to youknowyouddeservemore.com. And I'm really here to help you find what you want and to help you get it, whether that's in leadership or personally. So the road to resiliency, going from tragedy to triumph.
I hope everybody taps into you, Stephanie. You're amazing. You're strong. You're resilient. You've got training. You've got fortitude, and there's no stopping you. And anybody that comes into your path, you're going to bring up with you. You're that type of person. I haven't even known you long, but you're armed with is so big because you scoop everybody up. I saw you at that table. We were all having dinner that night. It was a long table and you were making friends. You were pulling everybody in. You were encouraging. It just came naturally to you. So you are an amazing, amazing leader. And I just hope my community gets to know you even more as well. Stephanie, SPHservices.net. Check her out. And when your podcast comes, I want to help you on that as well because you're going to do an amazing, amazing podcast. Do you know the name of it yet?
You know you deserve more.
You know you deserve. I love that, Stephanie. You know you deserve more. Amen. Pass the ketchup. Yes. Stephanie, on that note, thank you for being here. I adore you.
Thank you. Mwah. Love you so much.
Best is yet to come. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching to Get Celebritized, where we help you earn more so you can live more, so you can give back more. Make it your best day. Tap into a mentor today to take you to the next level because you don't have to do this alone. Together, we all achieve more. Have a good one. This is Aurea, over and out for now.